watching Actually 101 with me, Prakriti Singhal. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel. Also hit the bell icon so you never miss an update of my upcoming videos.
Hi guys, so in the previous video we have discussed about the non-constant interest rates. How do we calculate an accumulation or a present value if the interest rate is not constant throughout the duration? This video is not going to be very long. It is going to be only some terminologies that we generally use when we are calculating accumulation and discounting factors. It's not a new concept, so you must be very thorough with all the concepts that we have done so far. But it's just another way of representing things and seeing if we want to not accumulate from time zero but start accumulation from a future time to some time that is in the farther future. Let's look at how we calculate these. So it's very simple for t greater than s. So we are assuming that if this is the timeline, say here, then s comes before t. This time s comes before t. So s is less than t. And suppose we are investing £1 at time s, then at time t, what we are going to get is going to be called as accumulation factor from s to t. So basically it is the accumulation at time t of 1 unit invested at time s, and that will be represented as what? A s comma t. Similarly, vice versa, if we want £1 at time t and we want to find out how much should we invest at time s, then the present value is going to be nothing but v s comma t. So basically the discounted factor from that is of time from time t to time s is going to be VST. It is the discounted value at time s of 1 unit receivable at time t. So you can see it's nothing but just a different representation of things. We have actually covered all the concepts already in the previous videos, but this is just a new type of representation. Let's look at an example for this. So it's very similar from the example that we've done in the previous video. It's we have different interest rates per annum, effective per annum for different years. So for 2007, 2008 and 2009, we have different interest rates effective. Let's see, first question that we have is this. First, let's draw a simple timeline. Okay, and let's say that time 0 is 1st January 2007 and time 3 is 1st January 2010, because we are given the interest rates from 2007 until 2010, because 2009 is complete. So the end of 2009 can also be written as the beginning of 2010. So this is the time that we have. Now we want from 1st January to 1st January. So we want from 1st January 2007 to 1st January 2010. Now what can this be written as? This can be written as A0,3, right? Because we want the accumulation from time 0 to time 3, and this we've already done is 1.10 multiplied by 1.09 multiplied by 1.08. We are not doing nothing else, just accumulating for every year, because for 2007 till time 1 we are going to have 10% per annum, then till time 2 we have 9% per annum, and till time 3 we have 8% per annum. So we are just accumulating for every year. We've done this in the previous video. There's nothing extra to explain in this part. The next one is 1st July 2007 to 1st July 2009. Now what we want is from here, because 1st July 2007 is the middle of the year 2007. So we want from half till 1st July 2009 is going to be here 2.5 because it's going to fall between 1st January 2009 to 1st January 2010. So it's going to be 2.5. So what we are going to call this is 0.5 comma 2.5. So how are we going to calculate this? We've also done such examples in the previous video, which is going to be 10% to the power half, because this 10% is effective per annum and we only wanted for this duration, the half year, and then 9% is for the entire year, and again 8% is for just half year. So you can just check your answers over here. The answers are already given here. So you can just check your answers. Now we want V 1st January 2007 to 1st July 2009. So basically what do we want is V 0.5 comma 2.5. So it's just going to be the opposite of this. It's basically going to be, you can either calculate using the same formula, that is 1.08 to the power minus half multiplied by 1.09 minus 1 multiplied by 1.10 minus half, or what you can do is simply V 0.5 comma 2.5 is just going to be 1 upon A 0.5 2.5, or what this can be written also as A 0.5 comma 2.5, and this is to the power minus 1. So you can just derive a relationship similarly and find the answers. Then the last part is from 1st April 2008 to 1st October 2009. It's nothing else. It's just very simple. We'll again draw the timeline, and because that has become very messy, that's why I'm just drawing a new timeline. You can just continue on the same one as well, because here I have 0, here I have 3, and since it is in 2008, so it's going to be after the first year, and it's, so if I have the second year here, it's going to be here, because 3 months have passed and we only want it for the 9 months. So we can say that 1 quarter has passed. So this is going to be 1.25, and we want till 1st October 2009. That means 3 quarters of 2009 have passed. So this is going to be 2.75. So we can just calculate similarly the way we have calculated the others. That is going to be V into, so here we have 9% per annum and here we have 8% per annum. So V 1.25 comma 2.75 is going to be nothing but 1.08 to the power how much? It's going to be minus 0.75, because this duration is only 0.75. So it's going to be minus 0.75, or you can also write minus 3 by 4 multiplied by 1.09 to the power minus how much? This is again 0.75 years. So it's going to be here 0.75. So this is how we're just going to calculate, and you can just rectify your answers from here. You can just verify your answers from here. Let's look at some remarks now. The remarks are nothing but something that we've already discussed, this one. So we have already seen this one here in the third part, that we can just take the reciprocal or we can take it to the power minus 1. Then the second part is interesting, and please pay attention to it because this can be used at various times. So for example, you have some time R, then you have some time S, and then you have some time T. And if you want the accumulation from R to T, then what you can do is you can just do accumulation from R to S and then accumulation S to T, and you can multiply these. So basically it's going to be ARS into AST. This is going to give us ART. This is what is written over here. And obviously this goes without saying that if this relationship holds for accumulation, then it will also hold for discounting. So we can also discount in the similar manner that from T to S we discount first, and then we multiply whatever we discount from S to R, and we get whatever we can discount from T to R. So it's basically the same thing. Then we have another property that says accumulation from T to T is equal to discounting from T to T, which is going to be 1. So basically what we are saying is that if we are investing £1 at time T, then the accumulation at time T of this is going to be what? 1. Why? Because it's going to be 1 multiplied by 1 point some interest rate, say 1% to the power what? Because there is no time, the difference between the time is 0, so it's going to be 0, which is coming out to be 1. And similarly, if we want to find the present value VTT, it is also going to be 1. Why? Because we will do 1 multiplied by 1 point, say 1%, so it is going to be minus 0, which is nothing but again 0, so it's going to be 1 again. So basically, if we accumulate or discount some value at the same time, then it is not going to give us anything except the value itself. Because this is factors, it's not taking into consideration any capital amount. That's why this is 1. If there was a capital amount, we would just multiply 1 by the capital amount. So basically, if we wanted to calculate that, find the present value of £1,000 invested on 1st January 2007. So we want to find the accumulation from 1st January 2007 to 1st January 2007. What would it be? It would be just 1 multiplied by 1000, which would come out again to be £1,000. So this is it about general terminologies about general discounting and accumulation factors. If you have any doubts, please feel free to comment down or just drop me an email, whatever suits you, and I'll be happy to answer most of your questions. Probably I'll try my best to answer all the questions whichever possible. So do not hesitate in asking anything, or if you think something is not very clear in all these videos, then just let me know. I'll try my best to clear out any doubts that you have. The next topic that we're going to cover is not going to be accumulation and discounting of one cash flow, but it's basically going to increase a little more complexity, where so till now what we have done is we've just taken into consideration one factor. So we have not done a lot about different cash flows. So in the first video, if you remember, we had a series of cash flows. For example, if we deposit 2,000 in a bank account and we take out some amounts at regular intervals, then we need the accumulation at the time T. So we haven't done some scenarios like this. We have only done a scenario where there was single investment and we were calculating an accumulation. But what if there is a series of cash flows? There is some outflow, there is some inflow, and all these things are occurring in the bank account, which is a very realistic scenario. So we are going to include some more cash flows and then try to calculate the accumulations or the present values of all these cash flows at a particular time. It can be here, it can be at the end, it can be in the beginning, it can be anywhere on the timeline, but there is not going to be only one cash flow. Instead, there is going to be a series of cash flows. We are also going to be looking at something that we call as annuities. So the next topic that we'll cover is cash flows and annuities. So it is very essential that whatever we have covered till now, you are very clear about it. You are very thorough with all the concepts and you have practiced enough before you proceed with cash flows and annuities. And I'll see you in the next video now.
That's all for today. We will continue from here in the next video. If you found this video useful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you in the next video.